Hey everyone, welcome back to another explainer. Let's jump right in. When we normally think of a country, our brains instantly pictured massive land masses and millions upon millions of people, right? Well, what if I told you there are fully independent, recognized nations on this planet that are actually smaller than your local neighborhood? Today, we're going to unpack a really fascinating double metric, the world's absolute smallest countries, looking at both their physical area and their total population.
It really makes you wonder, just how small can a country actually be? We are so used to those standard classroom world maps where the giant superpowers just naturally hog all of our attention. But if we zoom way in, past the major continents, past those massive borders, we uncover a completely different scale of sovereign existence. It totally challenges our standard perception of what it even takes to be a nation.
I mean, it's wild, but there are actual, fully recognized countries out there literally smaller than a standard city park. The undisputed champion here is Vatican City. It sits at a minuscule 0.49 square kilometers. That's about 0.19 square miles. To put that into perspective, that is roughly the size of a standard local apartment complex. A whole sovereign country packed into a space you could stroll across in like 10 minutes.
So here's our roadmap for this explainer. We'll start by looking at the microstate phenomenon, check out the ultimate tiny nation, count down the top 10 by physical area, then the top 10 by population, and finally look at the trend of tiny island nations.
Section 1. The microstate phenomenon.
I absolutely love this quote directly from our source data because it really hits the nail on the head. It puts things into a strictly human perspective. We aren't just talking about tiny plots of land here. We are talking about mind-blowingly small demographics. Think about a major metropolitan city, any city you want. The specific neighborhood you live in probably has more people than some of the sovereign nations we're looking at today. Actually, some of these countries have a headcount lower than a small village in India. It's crazy.
Section 2. The ultimate tiny nation.
Okay, just look at that number, 825. Let that sink in for a second. That is not a high school graduating class. It's not a local theater capacity. That is the entire total population count of Vatican City, the absolute smallest country in the world by population.
What's truly fascinating is how Vatican City, also known as the Holy See, actually functions as an independent state with just 0.49 square kilometers to its name. Geographically, it's completely landlocked. It is entirely swallowed up by the Italian capital of Rome. Historically, it was created by popes to establish supremacy over the region, and today it's the very heartbeat of the Catholic Church. It's home to the biggest church in the world, St. Peter's Basilica, plus incredibly iconic artworks like the Pieta and the Creation of Adam. And economically, this is wild. Its GDP doesn't come from typical exports. It is entirely funded by global donations from the Roman Church and Christian worshippers all over the world.
But wait, it gets even more unique. If we break down those 825 people, the demographic makeup is unlike anywhere else on the planet. A massive 75% of Vatican City's citizens are actually members of the clergy. The remaining 25%? Other citizens. It is a highly specific, purpose-driven population that perfectly aligns with the country's massive religious footprint.
Section 3. Top 10 by physical area.
All right, let's look at the top 5 smallest landmasses. No surprise, Vatican City takes the #1 spot in Europe, but check out who's right on its heels. Monaco sits at number 2 with a tiny 2.02 square kilometers bordering France. Then, boom, we jump straight over to the Australia and Oceania region. We've got Nauru at 21 square kilometers and Tuvalu at 26. Notice how they both have 0 bordering countries? That's a huge clue about their geography, their islands. Finally, we bounce back to Europe for San Marino at 61 square kilometers, totally locked in by Italy. The big takeaway here, total dominance by Europe and Oceania in the top 5. Continuing down the area list to rank 6 through 10, the map starts to open up a bit globally. Liechtenstein comes in at number 6 in Europe with 160 square kilometers, squished between Austria and Switzerland. But then, at number 8, we finally get some North American representation with St. Kitts and Nevis at 269 square kilometers. And right after that, at number 9, Asia enters the chat with the Maldives at exactly 300 square kilometers. We round out the top 10 back in Europe with Malta at 316 square kilometers. It's like a global tiny country tour.
Section 4. Top 10 by population.
Now, this brings up a super crucial question for us. Does less land always mean fewer people?
I mean, you'd naturally assume these two lists, area and population, would be practically identical, right? Smallest footprint equals fewest citizens. Well, let's look at the data and see if that actually holds up. So, Vatican City remains firmly, unequivocally at number 1 with those 825 citizens. But literally right after that, the whole order gets flipped. Tuvalu, which was 4th in land area, shoots up to 2nd in population with 11,508 people. Nauru is 3rd with 12,704. And get this, look at number 4. Palau jumps right into the top 5 with 17,907 citizens. Palau wasn't even in our top 10 list for physical area. Its area is actually 459 square kilometers, but its tiny head count brings it right to the top of this list. Talk about a plot twist.
And when we look at ranks 6 through 10 by population, the mismatches get even more fascinating. Pay really close attention to Monaco at number 7. Remember, Monaco was the 2nd smallest country in the world by landmass, just 2.02 square kilometers. Yet here it is ranking 7th in population with nearly 39,000 people. What does that tell us? It means Monaco is incredibly densely populated. We also see Dominica enter the list at number 10, with over 71,000 people sharing 750 square kilometers. So, for sure, the physical area rankings absolutely do not perfectly match the population rankings.
Section 5. Tiny Island Nations. Okay, so the big elephant in the room here is that a massive portion of these microstates, especially the ones in Oceania, share one very specific geographic trait. They are isolated micro-islands. And standing as the ultimate champion of this category is Nauru. It holds the official title for the absolute smallest island country in the world. And it is remarkably consistent across our metrics. It ranks exactly 3rd in total physical area at just 21 square kilometers and 3rd in population with just over 12,000 citizens. When you're an island with no bordering countries to expand into, your geographic and demographic limits are strictly defined by the ocean around you. You literally can't grow any further.
Which brings us to our final thought. We've just seen a nation of 825 people entirely swallowed up by a single city. We've seen island nations completely bounded by endless oceans. We've even seen places where a tiny patch of land holds almost 40,000 citizens. So, I have to ask you, ultimately, what truly defines the size of a country? Is it its strict square mileage, the sheer number of its citizens, or, as we saw at Vatican City, is it the magnitude of its global footprint? I really hope this explainer sparked your curiosity to look just a little bit closer at the map next time. Thank you so much for exploring with me today, and I'll see you next time.